Hey, my love. Welcome back to the podcast. I hope you're doing so well. And we like to keep it real over here. I always like to tell you what's up, what's going on in my life, and share just the beautiful lessons and journey that I'm on, because I know when me and my girlfriends sit and chat, like, we can relate to each other so much. And I truly believe that is because we are all mirrors of each other in some way, and we can reflect things that we're going through, and someone else can fully understand it. Or maybe you're looking for guidance and then you hear the perfect thing at the perfect time, and that's just like the beauty of sharing and using your voice and being in your truth and not being afraid to share what you're actually feeling and what's going on, because you never know how that's going to help someone or guide someone. And so that's why I just want to show up in my full authentic expression on here. And we are going to talk about how to steward your singleness and how that sets the foundation for your relationship. So what I mean by this is, if you are one of my single ladies, maybe you're not, maybe you're in a relationship, but this could be really interesting for any of your girlfriends or people that you know that are in a single stage of life. And it can be so difficult. I feel, especially being out here in Bali, it is hard to get into relationships out here because it's a super transient place. And so I'm looking around at my girlfriends and they're all early 30s, and every single one of them is single. Not one of my close girlfriends are in a relationship. And I also just feel like that is the age that we're in, that everything is happening statistically a lot later in life. And especially if you're kind of amongst the community of, expats or people that travel or do life a little bit alternatively, people tend to push back their life a little. And even like I said, statistically, people are getting married way later in life, having kids way later. So I just find that all me and my girlfriends are pretty much single or on the dating scene, but it hasn't fully manifested into that relationship. And I do also think when you get to this age where you're in your kind of mid to late 20s, early 30s, you are a lot more cautious and mindful with who you're potentially entering a relationship with, because this might be your last. That's something that I am very present in reminding myself, that I say it, the next relationship I want to get into, I want it to be my last. I don't want to go through another 2-3 year relationship and then break up and then start all over again. I'm truly seeking out my husband, or letting him find me. And so, yeah, I feel like I am in the sort of stage of life of being very single. I haven't been in a committed relationship for the last 5 years since I broke up with my last boyfriend and moved to Bali. And although I've had some long-term dating situationships, it hasn't been that, that relationship. And so I wanted to talk in this episode, and I actually feel with how much I have to share, like the wisdom and the tips and advice that I really want to give in this episode. When I was thinking about it, I do feel like it's going to be a 2-part episode, because there's just so much juicy information and just like downloads I've been having and lessons I've been learning on being single. And I want to talk about like how to make the most of your singleness and how that sets the foundation for your relationship. And it's not the most probably in the way that you think, but I'm sure it can be that way as well. Like, go live your best life. But truly, I feel like when you hear the messages that I have to share in this about like what it actually means to be single, I do feel it will gift you potentially with a different perspective or a newfound appreciation for being single, or some wisdom that you could share with someone else. Because listen, I am a lover girl, not just a lover girl. I am the lover girl through and through. And I wasn't always this way. I went through a period of my life where I was super disconnected from myself, when I was holding on to so much hurt, especially from the masculine. And I even have a tattoo on me now that says to love and be loved. So I truly just don't know anyone who loves love as much as I do. Like, I'm such a lover girl. So being single is very hard for me. Yeah, like I was saying, it's just been the journey and path I've been walking for the last 5 years, and love and lessons woven throughout it, like I said, with like dating and situationships. But I just want to talk about the truth of being single and like how you can actually make the most of being single. because I believe that it's when you are single, this is where you actually cultivate the most incredible relationship, and not only with someone else but with yourself. Is because when you're single, it's when you heal yourself and you become the very best version of yourself for that future relationship, for example. And I know what you're thinking, but the things that I'm going to share with you have truly changed my life, because, I think when you throw around words like getting my life changed and healing yourself and loving yourself, like it can be a little bit of just like mainstream, but like truly when I say I am an embodiment of my life being changed and truly understanding who I am and loving myself and becoming so secure, I have this unshakable trust, not only with myself, but also with life because of it. And I believe this has come through being single and being alone, and really working on myself and developing these things. I'm laughing at myself because I don't love being single, yet now I'm recording this podcast and I'm like, wow, because I've been single, I've learned so much, truly. But life just doesn't come together when you get into a relationship. And I'll bet I do feel in ways life is amazing in relationships. And I truly believe partnership is the reason we're partially here to be on this planet, is to come into union and love. We can't expect getting into a relationship to fix our lives or take away our problems, because when you enter a relationship with problems, those problems are still going to be there. We are just lucky that we have someone to share them with, and we can almost half that problem in a way. But you really want to be in a place, and almost have to be in a place, where you're aligning your life when you're single to get set up to be that best version of yourself, by finding out what you love, by building your own community of friends. So then when you do enter this relationship, you are feeling whole and you're not externally looking to be fulfilled. So it's yes, these problems can be half, but how much more amazing is the relationship going to be when you enter it from such a healthy place of feeling great about your life, loving your life with or without them. It just enhances the relationship so much. And this is what I mean by aligning yourself to that desired life that you have, that future higher self that you think of. I say this, be the girlfriend already. Truly be an embodiment of that person that you would be in that relationship, and then become her now, even if you're single. And like I said, as someone, me, who has not been in a committed relationship or, for 5 years, I have really seen how transformative and critical alone time and dating as well, just experiencing life before the relationship is so critical for your growth. And I said this, I think, in my last podcast or the podcast before, that through dating and relating with other people, these have been the biggest lessons of my life. But it's I've learned the lesson when I'm single. So it's usually when I've come out of the dating container or the situationship has ended, and then I'm then single, I can really learn those lessons and see kind of from a clear perspective how I could have shown up differently, or how I wouldn't accept certain things. So it's in the singleness, I actually found the answers, and I know this is going to be so beneficial to when I enter a relationship. So whilst you're in this single time of being alone and maybe not having someone to fill up more space in your life, using it to reflect on the past and develop yourself and become a better version of yourself. I truly didn't know who I was, and it wasn't until I spent so much time with myself and I felt all the feels of my truth bubbling up, of what my heart actually desired. It wasn't till then that I kind of noticed how much work I still had to do within myself and how much life I still had to explore. And what I mean by the truth bubbling up, I wasn't so connected to my heart. And the more I connected to my heart and spent time alone and really got to know me on a deep level, I then felt into the importance of how deeply I did want a relationship from a very loving place, and not someone, like I said, to fill the space in my life. I filled that space up with people in my life and friends and hobbies and just self-development. And then when my life was full, I could really feel into, I want someone to share this amazing life with. And yeah, I had work to do on myself. I'm still working on myself, truly. And I'm so happy that I didn't get into a relationship, say in 2020 when I was dating a guy and I wanted to be in a relationship with him, because the growth that I've gone on by being single, and I was single, like single for 2 full years, like no dating, no intimacy, nothing. I was very single, and I did so much work on myself to getting to know myself, to really fully like become the best version of myself. And I'm almost there. I truly believe it, but I can still see areas where I can improve. And often, you know, when you date someone, like you kind of get these reflections, like I'm saying, or, you know, your friends are there to help support you and kind of help you see the things that maybe you're not seeing. And the decisions that you truly make now in your singleness will impact your relationships, because I love to use myself as an example. If in my singleness I don't honor myself and my boundaries, and for example I start dating and then I was intimate with someone who had, say, completely different values or way of living, then I get hurt and I take that pain into my relationship. So how I steward my singleness, and if I am dating and exploring the world, like how I show up then does actually affect my future relationships. And this is something that I had to learn when I did start dating again, because after that 2-year break of being super single, I started dating again, and I didn't hold the values and morals that I have to a high enough standard, that then I got hurt in the process because I started putting someone else's needs before my own, and I started to let my self-worth slip because, you know, emotions are involved in feelings. And so then that did damage to me that then I had to step back and work on, so that I wouldn't take that into my next relationship. Whereas if we're a little bit careless when we're single, this could actually then impact our future relationship. And we're all kind of working towards, I feel, that like long-term committed relationship. And so that's why when you are single, if you are not dating anyone, it's up to you to do that work on yourself, to become a better version of yourself and become the version of you that you are so proud to be. And that would be like an energetic match for the partner that you want. Or if you are being single and enjoying yourself and living your best life, like do it mindfully and consciously, so that you don't then regress your progress or like affect who you are based off making poor choices. Because you can do a ton of work on yourself like I have. You can do the therapy, you can drink all the plant medicine, but speaking from experience, the past cannot really be undone. Like once it's been done, it's been done. So how you show up now, it does impact the future, because you always have to carry that hurt, and it can kind of close us off and guard our hearts if we're not careful, or we can like lose trust in the masculine, or, you know, we can pick up behaviors that aren't true to you. So for example, you could become super anxious in a relationship when before you weren't, you were secure, and then you kind of become controlling, and it can have all these knock-on effects, and we sometimes don't realize it until it's too late, which is why I wanted to just talk about it. And this is from my own experience of mistakes that I've made. And yeah, it's like, I think this came through for me, like, don't just exist when you're single, be intentional. Because when I went on my 2-year like celibacy, no dating, no guys, like I was intentional with that time. I just, you know, I'm sure there were moments where I let life pass me by a little bit, and I let opportunities with people pass me by, but I was intentionally working on myself. I was healing, I was getting to know myself, I was building up my little life for myself, and I was really enjoying just like being me and being in my mid-20s and really discovering who I was. And even if you're a little bit older and you're in the single stage of life, like still seeing it as an opportunity of, I get this time right now and this is the youngest I'm ever going to be, so I'm going to make the most of that while someone isn't, you know, relating with me, or whilst I'm healing myself. Like, how can I go deeper on my own journey within myself at this time? Because I don't think things happen for no reason. I truly believe that. How you work on yourself when you are single will result in all the blessings that come later in the relationship. Because if you are more conscious and you're more mindful and you're more loving and you're sweeter and you're feminine, like this is going to make the most beautiful relationship, because you're going to be this energetic match, like I said, for the masculine. Whereas if you're wounded, if you're in your masculine, if you have all this shame and guilt, like that is what you're going to attract. And I wish it didn't take me 29 years to learn this, but it did. And so I'm now really seeing that and noticing that and seeing how the importance of doing the work on myself is critical for the kind of relationship that I'm going to attract. And like I said, I'm so happy I didn't get into a relationship with the last guys that I was dating, minus the last one. I would have been with him in a heartbeat. However, the ones before that, I'm so happy I didn't get into relationships with them, because it wasn't anything about them, all kind of a little bit about one of them, but like not so much about them and totally about me not being the woman that I want to be. Because you'll see the red flags in someone, like if you cross them, and you'll have enough self-respect when you worked on yourself and enough self-worth to be like, nope, no thank you, faulty item, return to sender, walk away if they are not it for you, right? And then you kind of get to a space and place where you have that worth and you have that self-love. And so then if you see the red flags, you would absolutely not want to go near it. Like, no thank you, don't invite me to the circus. But if someone then say doesn't choose you, and you have cultivated such a level of self-worth and self-respect and just like knowing what you want, then you can also walk away so confidently, because you just know within yourself you are worthy of love and a loving relationship, and the man who gets to be with you is going to be so lucky because you know how you show up. Like, I look back at me 2 years ago, 1 year ago, 5 years ago, whatever it is, I am nowhere near as loving as I am now. Like, I truly live from my heart, and I am so devoted. Like, I just have such a burning desire in my soul to just be in love with my partner and love him and support his mission and just like cook for him and just be a wifey. Like, it's like, I love that idea. And that had to come through just like loving my own life so much and like having the adventures and having the fun and having all of those things. And then to still want, like I said, someone to share that with and to be that for someone, I think is so special. This has also come from getting my heart broken and getting it hurt, that I had to heal my heart and I had to connect with myself. And this was the big lesson for me last year, because I didn't listen to my heart. I stayed and I got hurt more than I knew was emotionally possible. And then I had to do the damage control on that. So now I'm in a space and place of like, I respect and love myself and heart so much that I'm not just gonna accept or, settle in a way. And I think that's what's so beautiful when you're single, because when you're single, you're not settling, that's for sure. You're not accepting anything less than you deserve. And that sometimes does cause you to be a little bit single, because you're waiting for that right person. And then you have to trust that they're going to show up. And this is if you're living with your heart open, right? If you're single because your heart is closed, then that's the work that you need to go and do on yourself. Like, you need to take a step back and heal the hurt that's been hurt, and listen to your heart and hear what she's saying and connect with it, and trust yourself again to love. I think this is a big thing, because you have to trust yourself enough to get clear on what type of relationship you want to have in the future, how you spend your time, what's included in your days, like children, whatever it is, like with intentionality behind it, so that you can feel into who is a good match for you based off your values. And this is how I know I got to this place of like wanting to be like a wifey and wanting kids and wanting all those things. I uncovered that through being single, and it was uncovered through just getting really clear on how I wanted to show up, like how I saw my future, how I spend my time. And my life is very similar to what that would be like with that person. I would just just have, like I said, someone to share my life with. Sure, things can change as you enter a relationship, because maybe you say you don't want kids and then you meet someone. Like, I have friends that this has happened to, and then then it changes for you. But I'm also saying you have to be clear on what kind of life you value, because I know that if I say, for example, I have a life in Bali and I want to get married and be with someone, like, I can't be with someone who doesn't want those things, because then it's really not going to work. And sure, people have to make sacrifices. I'm not saying that you don't in relationships, but you can get really clear on the things that are like non-negotiables for you, and then the things that you'd also be okay like letting go of. And like, for example, I would be happy to move, but then I also want to be in a place that's like by the beach in sun. So then it's like you have an idea for your life, and then you wait for the person who brings that out of you, or who can invite you into their life, and it excites you, and it's something that you love. And I didn't know what I wanted or the kind of man I would want to be with until I was by myself, and until I worked on myself enough to raise my standards. I think this is a big thing, raise my standards to really, desire a high value man. And I had to become that woman. And you can call it manifestation or prayer or vision, but it's then your heart that then guides you towards that life and the right people. I heard someone say, actually, if you don't know what you're looking for, you'll pick up anything. I love this, because I'm open to someone just appearing in my life when the time is right, and, not expecting it, and maybe they're not what I thought. Like, I'm open to anything, right? I don't have like this perfect guy in my head of what he looks like and what he does. Like, none of that truly matters. It's more about what his character is and what his morals are, like I'm saying. But like, if you don't know what you want or what you're looking for, you'll pick up anything. And so when you know what you want and you know what you're looking for, you can discern it, and you're not looking or figuring out what you want if you're in a relationship, right? Because hopefully you're in the relationship that is what you want. But if you're single, you clearly are potentially open to relating in the future. If it's not now, like it will be one day. It's better to wait for the right person than search for someone to give you like that feeling of what love is. Like, when you're dating, it's like you're craving the feeling of what a relationship is or what love is. But I truly believe it's better to wait for that right person that can give you the whole damn thing, because ultimately women do not search. We are hunted and pursued, and being happy and in love with your singleness means that you're not out there searching for it, like that you're open to it just appearing when the time is right. And that truly comes down to like trusting yourself and trusting the universe and surrendering, which is all such a feminine quality versus trying to control the outcome. So I hope you have enjoyed part 1. I'm going to record the second part of this episode where I want to talk to you about the list that I made a couple of years ago and making like the ultimate list and becoming it. This is truly a phenomenal thing that I've done that really has changed my life. But I also just want to say I hope this podcast has encouraged you in some way, if you are single, to see the beauty in being single and see how special it is that you actually get this time for yourself to become the very best version of yourself. And I'm saying that from someone that has spent so many nights alone over the last 5 years of my life, right? Like, I have spent more time alone, than I spent with people. And so, I really feel like there's been so much growth that I've had, and I am the version of me because of that. And that's it is coming from a very like humble yet proud place, that I'm so proud to be this version of myself. And it didn't come easy, and there's been so many lessons and love and heartbreak throughout it, but also these years are so special, or this period in time is so special when you are single, because if you're say if you were in a relationship and then you've come out of one and you're just in a brief period of singleness, it's that time that you get to do all the things that you want to do for you. and you get to spend the time with you, doing what you love, like not adhering to anyone else's schedule, just like, you know, starfishing the bed, eating whatever meal you want, like hanging out with your friends. Like there's so much fun that comes with it that's not just what you think of, like going out to the club and having fun and like hookup culture. Like there's so much like joy and discovery and growth and healing and happiness that I said that can be found. So yeah, I really do hope that you've taken something from this, and I hope that you love it. If you do, please give it a little rating on the App Store, follow the podcast, and I will be uploading the second part very, very soon. I love you so much and have an amazing day.